right. But for 17-year-old Juliane Koepcke, the unthinkable nightmare became reality, and she survived. In today's video, we dive into one of the most astonishing survival stories in aviation history. You won't believe how Juliane battled through unimaginable odds and emerged as the sole survivor of a devastating plane crash. Stay tuned because this story will leave you in awe. And trust me, you don't want to miss a second of it. In December 1971, 17-year-old Juliane Koepcke was like any other teenager, excited for the holidays. Little did she know, she was about to become the sole survivor of one of the most incredible survival stories in aviation history. On Christmas Eve, she boarded ANSA Flight 508 with her mother, Maria, in Lima, Peru, bound for the Amazonian town of Pucallpa. Her father awaited them, and their plan was to spend Christmas together. But fate had a different course in mind. ANSA Flight 508 was a routine hour-long flight. It was the quickest way to travel across Peru and into the heart of the Amazon. As the plane ascended into the sky, everything seemed normal. The passengers were relaxed, and Juliane sat beside her mother, looking out the window. But shortly into the flight, the weather began to worsen. Dark clouds gathered, and turbulence shook the plane. Juliane and her mother exchanged worried glances as the aircraft entered a fierce thunderstorm. Suddenly, it happened. A bolt of lightning struck the plane. The sound was deafening. The cabin erupted into chaos. Passengers screamed as luggage flew through the air. The plane began to break apart in midair. At 10,000 feet, the aircraft was ripped apart by the forces of the storm, and Juliane, still strapped to her seat, was violently ejected from the plane. Plummeting toward the Amazon rainforest below, Juliane was in freefall, surrounded by the wreckage of the plane and the dense jungle canopy. Imagine this, you're falling through the sky, strapped to a seat with nothing to protect you. Juliane's body hurtled toward the earth, but incredibly, something extraordinary happened. She survived the 2-mile fall. Scientists believe that her row of seats, combined with the thick jungle canopy, may have slowed the descent just enough to save her life. The trees might have cushioned the impact, breaking her fall, but no one can say for sure how she survived such a deadly drop. When Juliane awoke, it was daylight. The jungle was silent, and she was alone. She had a broken collarbone, deep cuts on her legs, and her right eye was swollen shut. Disoriented and weak, she realized she had survived, but she had no idea where the rest of the plane was or what had happened to her mother. Juliane's father was a biologist, and her parents had taught her many survival skills while living in the jungle. These skills would become her lifeline in the days to come. As she stood up, she noticed her injuries were serious, but they weren't life-threatening. Her collarbone was broken, but she could still walk. She had no food, no shelter, and no shoes, yet she knew she had to keep moving if she wanted to survive. The jungle was a hostile and unforgiving environment, filled with dangerous animals, venomous insects, and oppressive heat. But Juliane had one critical piece of knowledge. Her father had always told her that following water would lead to people. With that in mind, she began her journey, limping through the dense vegetation, searching for any sign of civilization. For the next 10 days, Juliane trekked through the jungle alone. Her only sustenance was water from nearby streams. At night, she slept under trees or bushes, exposed to the elements. Her cuts became infected and her injuries worsened, but she never gave up. The jungle was teeming with insects, and her wounds attracted swarms of flies. Maggots began to infest her cuts, causing excruciating pain, but Juliane pressed on, determined to survive. One day, after several agonizing days of walking, she came across something that filled her with hope. A small creek. She knew that following it could lead to a larger river and eventually to people. She waded through the water, carefully navigating through the jungle, fighting exhaustion and dehydration. Her vision was blurred, and her body was weak, but she pushed forward. Finally, after 10 long days, Juliane found a small hut. It belonged to local loggers, but at that moment, no one was there. The hut was simple with a roof and a few tools. Juliane collapsed inside, grateful for shelter. She had reached civilization, but she wasn't out of danger yet. She needed help, and she needed it fast. The next day, local loggers arrived at the hut. When they found Juliane, they were shocked. They couldn't believe that a young girl had survived such a fall and endured the harsh jungle alone for so long. They treated her infected wounds as best they could and took her by boat to a nearby village. From there, she was flown to a hospital where she was reunited with her father. Tragically, Juliane learned that her mother, along with the other 91 passengers, had not survived the crash. The wreckage of ASA Flight 508 was scattered across the rainforest, and rescue teams had struggled to find survivors in the dense jungle. Juliane was the only one who had lived through the disaster, and her incredible story soon became known around the world. Juliane's survival was nothing short of miraculous. Falling 10,000 feet from a plane and surviving is almost unthinkable. Scientists have long debated how she managed to survive such a deadly fall. Some believe that the dense foliage of the jungle slowed her descent, while others suggest that the seat she was strapped to absorbed much of the impact. But even beyond the fall, Juliane's tenacity and will to live are what truly make her story remarkable. After her recovery, Juliane went on to follow in her parents' footsteps, studying biology and dedicating her life to conservation efforts in the Amazon rainforest. Her extraordinary story has been recounted in documentaries, books, and interviews, but to this day, she remains a humble survivor who doesn't see herself as a hero. In reflecting on her experience, Juliane has said, "It wasn't fate or destiny that I survived. It was pure luck." But perhaps her survival was more than just luck. Her knowledge of the jungle, her unwavering determination, and her ability to stay calm in the face of unimaginable odds all contributed to her incredible survival. The story of Juliane Koepcke, the girl who fell from the sky, continues to inspire people around the world. It is a testament to the strength of the human spirit, the power of resilience, and the sheer will to survive against all odds. Juliane's journey from the wreckage of Flight 508 to safety is a story that will never be forgotten. It serves as a reminder that even in the darkest of circumstances, survival is possible if we refuse to give up. Juliane Koepcke's incredible story reminds us just how powerful the human spirit can be in the face of overwhelming odds. If you found the story as unbelievable and inspiring as we did, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you won't miss more incredible tales like this one. And remember, this is just one of many stories that show how resilience and determination can make the impossible possible. See you in the next video.
Throughout aviation history, there have been tragic moments when pilots faced imminent disaster. Their final words, captured on cockpit voice recorders, offer haunting glimpses into these intense, often final moments. Today, we'll explore some of these poignant last transmissions, shedding light on the professionalism, courage, and sometimes the raw human emotion of pilots in their darkest hours. Before we delve into specific incidents, it's important to note that these recordings are not meant for sensationalism. They serve a crucial purpose in aviation safety, helping investigators understand what went wrong and how to prevent similar tragedies in the future. These last words of pilots are a testament to their dedication and the risks they face every day to keep passengers safe. Let's start with one of the most famous incidents in aviation history, the crash of United Airlines Flight 232 in Sioux City, Iowa in 1989. The flight experienced a catastrophic failure of its tail-mounted engine, which led to the loss of all hydraulic flight controls. Despite the near-impossible situation, Captain Al Haynes and his crew managed to crash-land the plane, saving 185 out of 296 people on board. Just before impact, Captain Haynes's last recorded words were,
"Whatever you do, keep us away from the city."
"Whatever you do, keep us away from the city." Even in those final moments, his concern was for those on the ground, showcasing the incredible responsibility pilots feel for lives beyond just their passengers. Moving to a more recent incident, we have the tragic case of Lion Air Flight 610 in 2018. This flight crashed into the Java Sea shortly after takeoff due to a malfunction in the Boeing 737 MAX's maneuvering characteristics augmentation system. The final words of the pilots were a desperate prayer. Allahu Akbar, God is the greatest. This brief, emotional appeal underscores the human element in these high-stress situations. In 1999, Egypt Air Flight 9990 crashed into the Atlantic Ocean. The final words of the relief first officer were, "I rely on God," repeated over and over. While the cause of this crash remains controversial, with theories ranging from mechanical failure to intentional action, these last words reflect the intense stress and perhaps the search for solace in the face of impending disaster. One of the most chilling recordings comes from the 1978 crash of Pacific Southwest Airlines Flight 182. As the plane was about to collide with a small Cessna over San Diego, the last words heard were, "Ma, I love you." This heart-wrenching final message reminds us of the personal lives and loved ones left behind in these tragedies. In some cases, the final words of pilots reveal their determination to save their aircraft and passengers until the very end. Take United Airlines Flight 173 in 1978. As the plane ran out of fuel over Portland, Oregon, Captain McBroom's last recorded words were,
"Engines are flaming out. We're going down. We're not going to be able to make the airport."
"We're going down. We're not going to make the airport." Despite the grim situation, his calm demeanor and continued efforts to land the plane safely likely saved many lives. The Tenerife airport disaster of 1977, the deadliest accident in aviation history, offers another somber example. As KLM Flight 4805 accelerated for takeoff, unaware that Pan Am Flight 1736 was still on the runway, Captain Van Zanten's final words were, "We're going." This simple phrase preceded a collision that claimed 583 lives and changed aviation safety protocols forever. In 2009, Air France Flight 447 crashed into the Atlantic Ocean. The final exchange between the pilots, as they struggled with conflicting instrument readings and a high-altitude stall, was,
Qu'est-ce qui se passe? Qu'est-ce qui se passe? Je sais pas ce qui se passe.
"But what's happening?" This question encapsulates the confusion and disorientation that can occur in complex emergency situations, even among highly trained professionals. Sometimes the last words of pilots reveal their fighting spirit. When U.S. Airways Flight 1549 lost engine power after striking a flock of birds in 2009, Captain Chesley "Sully" Sullenberger famously declared,
Peterborough, we're going to be in the Hudson.
"We're going to be in the Hudson." His calm assessment and subsequent actions led to the miracle on the Hudson, where all 155 people aboard survived the water landing. The 2015 Germanwings Flight 9525 crash offers a darker perspective. The final words of Captain Patrick Sondenheimer, desperately trying to re-enter the locked cockpit, were, "For God's sake, open the door." This tragedy, intentionally caused by the co-pilot, led to significant changes in cockpit security protocols and mental health screening for pilots. In some instances, the final words of pilots serve as crucial warnings. The last transmission from TWA Flight 800 in 1996 was, "Look at that crazy fuel flow indicator there on number 4. See that?" Shortly after, the plane exploded over the Atlantic. While the exact cause remains debated, these final words hinted at the fuel tank issues that would become central to the investigation. As we reflect on these somber moments, it's crucial to remember that they represent only a tiny fraction of the millions of safe flights that occur each year. The aviation industry learns from each tragedy, continuously improving safety measures and protocols. These final words of pilots facing disaster serve as poignant reminders of the risks inherent in aviation and the incredible responsibility shouldered by flight crews. They showcase not just the technical challenges of flying, but also the very human elements of fear, courage, professionalism, and sometimes acceptance. In many ways, these last transmissions are a testament to the pilots' dedication to their passengers, their crew, and their profession. Even in the face of impending disaster, many continued to fight for survival, remained focused on their duties, or thought of others before themselves. As we honor the memory of those lost in these tragedies, we also recognize the ongoing efforts of the aviation industry to make flying safer. Each incident, each final word, contributes to our understanding and helps prevent future accidents. In conclusion, while it's natural to feel a sense of unease when considering these final moments, we should also feel a deep appreciation for the men and women who take to the skies every day, ensuring the safety of millions of passengers worldwide. Their professionalism, even in the most dire circumstances, is truly remarkable. As we've seen, their last words often reflect not just their training, but their humanity, their fears, their hopes, and their unwavering commitment to their duty. These are the voices of true professionals, facing the ultimate test with courage and dignity.